this kind of challenges, it is better to take today decisions that will eventually be not popular, but it will be essential to be able to shape the public opinion itself.
All right, I got a bunch with Al Gore, and we've got the footage. I know it came out days ago, but now they have all the side footage where it's a film crew, real police there, Greta Thunberg, Germany. They're laughing, they're joking, they're high-fiving the police. We got a director out saying camera action, all of it. And then the news is still saying it's real and she got arrested. I mean, it's just next level. These people are disgusting. Guarantee you that pig eats meat. Guarantee you that pig flies around on private jets. We know she does, but she doesn't want you to have it because she's a degenerate pig. We'll be right back with hour number 2 and so much more. Stay with us.
Unreal.
The establishment has chosen this show as the...
Unreal. These people, they are gunning for straight control. Absolute unreal. They, with no proof, no evidence, they just want us to believe them that the climate is changing. First, it was an ice age, old ice age back in the 1970s. Oh, there's to be an ice age, and that never happened. Now, then it was global warming. That never happened. Now they talking about climate change because their narrative has to, people have to, their narrative just have to change because nobody believed them. So, climate change. Now they got to ban beef because of the CO, the carbon that we are putting out. They basically just saying we're bad and in order to save the earth. But they fly around in jets and they still have cars. Like Joe Biden got a Corvette, but he wants you to buy an electric vehicle. You can't make this up, man. I can't believe people still follow for him. But they have to gun for control. They have to come for the guns. They just evil. You people still want to believe them. They say the shots work. You get your shots, you won't pass COVID. Now they admit that you need your updated shots just to, man. These guys, man, they are absolutely out of control and they need to be called out for the evil people that they really are, the liars that they are. And people need to just wake up and stop believing them. Don't give them your power. Oh, I'm done. Let's see if we could continue with this video, actually.
They realized that the shots were causing the explosion of chronic disease, asthma, neuroimmune diseases like psychosis, ADHD, autism, cancer, autoimmune diseases. So they realized in 2011 they caused it all. Or in 2009, and when our paper came out, they realized that these were the shots were associated strongly, very strongly. The chance of them not being associated, it was like being struck by lightning, 1 in at least 1,000,000 in a p-value. And so they covered this all up because, of course, they were liable now because for the 42 million Americans who are asymptomatic carriers of HIV and SARS-CoV-2 and other XMRVs, other manufactured mouse, monkey, and human viruses. The game was premeditated murder of the 42 million people you're liable for their injury. Premeditated murder. If you give somebody who already has an antibody a shot, you will get antibody-dependent enhancement.
Oh, so they were getting rid of the people they'd already poisoned, knowing that giving them a second or third or fourth dose would kill them. Wow.
Correct. Kill us, cremate us, add a mask and isolation, and you'll blame the people for COPD or any of the other co-diseases. You never inject an HIV-positive person with any vaccine. We never did. Never until now. You do not drive the disease-causing entity through their body.
Why do we know that all over the world, the people that have had the COVID vaccine are testing positive for HIV. Is that because of the spike proteins from HIV?
It has GP120, glycoprotein 120. Absolutely. It also has the monkey mouse manufactured as XMRV. So the spike protein is killing, literally the 12%.
So you're saying it's a binary weapon where they already are preloaded with it, and this triggers the next phase?
Correct. And the more vaccines you got, especially Gardasil, because that has the toxic synthetic lipid nanoparticles similar to the one in the COVID shot. Prior to the COVID shot, the deadliest vaccine, we saw athletes dropping dead on the field, passing out, falling down, all the things.
Now, why is it particularly the athletes?
Because they operate at oxygen max, capacity max. They're operating at such a high level in their mitochondria. This is an energy production, oxygen necessary disease.
So that's what they're finding. They turbocharge the blood clots.
Correct.
Wow. Yep.
And ischemia, lack of oxygen. So constricted blood vessels too, because athletes are running, they're constricted, they're working so that the blood flows, and it doesn't flow, which is why your nitric oxide product, that new products, I hope you'll show it, because that's a very important thing to have for acute events. Dissolve under the tongue, give you an instant relaxing of your endothelium, your vasculature.
You looked at our nitric oxide. I saw it was the top rated. They let us private label it. It's the best seller. You've looked at our formula. You like it?
I did, and I do. Yes.
Well, I'm not a scientist like you. What do these compounds do creating nitrous oxide? What does it do?
It relaxes the vasculature. So the clot will go through and not restrict. It allows it to relax. It lowers the blood pressure.
And I know it's not nitric oxide, it's nitric. I just get that wrong. But you can find that product at InfoWarsStore.com. Nitric Boost, InfoWarsStore.com. All right. Huge second hour, giant third hour, so much lined up. Dr. Darren Beatty joins us straight ahead. InfoWars.com. Tomorrow's news today. It's your last chance to own a piece of real history. Your support of InfoWars has made it.
We now know that the vaccine's the most dangerous thing in the market, and I don't even know why it's still in the market. You got athletes dropping dead in the middle of the field. And we all know they was vaccinated. They mandated this shit, man. First time in my life have I ever seen anything like that. And millions of people were watching. He got right back up after the tackle, and he just dropped dead. Wow. Right in front of your eyes. And people is just going about their lives and acting like the shit ain't happening. Well, let's watch some more of this. Let's see what else I got Harper on here.
Jacinda Ardern.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Jacinda Ardern has resigned. Klaus Schwab said that she was the best example of their female operatives, and that Justin Trudeau is the best example of a male operative. She carried out every order of the UN and the globalists and the Chi-Coms, and she is now resigning because she has about a 19 to 20 point support rate, even with their skewed polls. She is a truly wicked woman that said, don't talk to your neighbors, that the lockdowns will basically never end, that don't look at the sun, don't go outside. They said, don't look at the sunset. They said that in Australia and New Zealand. Just absolutely over-the-top evil. We have incredible footage on Infowars.com. I'll play some of later of the great folks at Rebel Media.
The protocols they were saying was
Orla
absolutely nuts.
It was a devastating tag team by two reporters. Schwab got confronted and ran off, scurrying into the night like a Nazi 2.0 that he is. We've got so much more. And this happened a few days ago, and I meant to cover it, but I want to hit it some today because now they've got all these different camera angles of Greta Thunberg with the police at a coal plant in Germany, trying to have one of their last coal plants shut down so they can all freeze to death. And she's there with the cameras and the lights and the cops, and she's laughing with them, and then they say action, and then they start pushing her away and saying they arrested her. Headlines everywhere. CNN is still not retracted. BBC's not retracted. I got the articles here in the stack. It's ridiculous that they shoot all this social media themselves, then put out a fake video, do this whole fake mosh pit with the police, and then still put out the admission it's fake. They just don't care. They just rub it in our faces. That reminds me now, we learned thousands of doctors weren't real doctors on Twitter. From the Twitter files, you know, it's the same on Facebook and everywhere else. They were working for think tanks. They were working for PR firms. Well, they turn around and call us fake news, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely insane. All right, joining us to cover the waterfront is Dr. Darren Beattie. He was a White House advisor and speechwriter to President Trump. He's also been a professor and political scientist. And he's at Darren J. Beattie on Twitter, and Revolver.news, of course, does a fabulous job. And he's here with us to talk about what's coming up in the new Congress, what's happening with Hunter Biden, what's happening with the awakening to the globalists and the W.E.F. and the Chi-Coms, and what are key strategies he thinks we could have. He's a really smart guy. I respect him. On what we can do to accelerate the awakening and stop the tyranny and turn our economy back on and turn the world's economy back on and stop the replacement migration and the rest of it that's killing us, versus how are they going to strike back? Because I think it's fair to say, he may disagree, but they are hounded. They are desperate. They're at the WEF saying, we got to ban free speech in America. We got to arrest our opposition. They are killing us. And from what I see, that is happening. And again, I use this example, we had Gavin McInnes on 2 days ago. He said the same thing. He was getting 20-30% hate when Trump was first in office when he walked down the street. Now, you're getting 70% love. So was I. I'm getting 99% love. And again, I'm a public figure, so people know who I am. They don't know who the average person is, so you don't get to see how effective we are and how big the awakening is. So it's an incredible time to be alive. And we see this in so many other facets and other areas. So Dr. Beattie, thank you for joining us. What do you want to get into first?
Well, we can get into the whole range of it. The church-style committee that's coalescing in the House. We can get into the Pfizer situation, that interesting confrontation. We can get into anything you want, really. We could even get into a topic I've been discussing publicly lately that gets to the core of the information war, the concept that you've so brilliantly made the title of your show and really part of the ethos of what you do. And that is how certain people seem to be so promoted in an artificial algorithmic sense. And I've gotten a lot of pushback, a lot of hate, and a lot of love, frankly, for some of my critiques of this individual called Lex Fridman that maybe you've heard of. So we could get into that as well. So really, wherever you want to take it, I'm happy to go there and discuss.
You know, I know Lex. I've had dinner with him. I've followed some of his work. But I do see the buzz online about him because, correct me if I'm wrong, when we get this later, it's kind of a side issue, but also see it as like with, like the Greta Thunberg thing. I guess you're kind of getting at, is he something like that? I do see it algorithmically promoted by the system more than really anything else, which I find interesting. But I like a lot of what Lex has to say and do. I'm not super familiar with all the ins and outs. I know there's been some controversy with you and he, and I really respect you, so I'd like to have you get into that a little bit here coming up. But it's not just the algorithm. It's other talk show hosts and other podcasters that don't normally promote other people. I've seen them almost cultically, devotedly promoting him. It's almost like messianic or something. But then I've seen some of your writings. I think what you said on Twitter is, but there's not a messianic thing there. I'm not saying he's not a smart guy or interesting. It's like, dun, 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 oh my God, he's here. It's the greatest thing ever. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, no, I'm getting at a lot of things. And I think it's important to underscore that I haven't, frankly, been able to get through much of his content just because I find it a little bit boring. It's sort of like the TED Talks, and TED Talks are very popular with a certain type of demographic, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with this type of content He seems unobjectionable as a person. I'm not saying he's a bad person. It's really not personal. Like, you know, I have fun with it a little bit just because it is such a ridiculous thing, but it's not personal. There's nothing against him. But I think as citizens and as consumers of information, it's really important for us to scrutinize and interrogate where the information comes from. And when there's all of a sudden somebody who seems to be the most algorithmically put on person on the entire internet, like I joke, you can't watch a cooking video and go to sleep and not wake up to a Lex Fridman video. It's literally everywhere. Sometimes it'll, you know, they'll vary it up. You'll get a Jordan Peterson video. You get a Ben Shapiro video. But
all right, guys,
the extent
you want to find
the algorithm shoves this guy in your face,
Alex Jones,
I think is a little
Infowars.com, ban.video.com.
Behind that.
I mean, ban.video
we both have a
or
lot of respect
Infowars.com.
for Joe Rogan. I think the case of Joe Rogan,
you're not going to get,
talent is very evident.
I mean, you can get truth by digging, and I'll lead y'all to the water, but I can't make y'all drink. Peace.